Hello friends, and today I will talk about Vrindavan, touch upon Vrindavan, Lord Krishna, and the and what is basically mythology as I understand it, or what is philosophy as I understand it. It's basically the Indian philosophy. Now, there was nothing as Indian philosophy, and there is nothing as Hindu philosophy, and let's see how it came into being. Any human being first, even a child wants to know, and there have been conversations in the Upanishads and other places where a child asks that, the color of the water is what? I mean, the parent says blue. The color of the sky is what? The parent says again blue. And the child asks, what is the difference between this blue and that blue? So that is the area of metaphysics, where we want to understand what is there. Just discover what is there. But beyond metaphysics comes what is known as our knowledge, the knowledge of the superconsciousness, the knowledge of the Supreme. And most importantly, now the question you would ask is, I do not believe there is any knowledge of the Supreme, and there cannot be any sadhu or a muni or a rishi who was able to connect himself to the larger consciousness which is prevailing in the cosmos. Now here it was like this, that when we talk about the chakras, there is the Mooladhara chakra, which is down below, and on the top of the head you have the Sahasra chakra. The Mooladhara chakra, which is down below, is the energy of Devi. It is a form of energy which is negative or positive, you can name it anything, which is there. And when this energy travels up into your own body and goes beyond your head, that is, it is beyond all the nerves, all the energy, they all flow upwards and go to your head, then you are supposed to be having Sahasra chakra. Now it is this Sahasra chakra which is known as the 1,000 petals around you. These 1,000 petals are the ultimate realization which a man gets within, and through these energy levels or energy points, it connects itself to the larger consciousness to reveal things which an ordinary person does not know. So, it is nothing which is outside. It is a travel from your inside and connecting to something which is a larger kind of energy, which is a larger kind of a reservoir, which is a larger river, whatever you can call it. I mean, you can name it anything. So that is how, when the Vedas were written, they were written by such people who had the knowledge of raising their body and the energies within the body and connecting themselves to the super consciousness, and then understanding things and telling it to us. That part of it perhaps has got lost, and as civilization increased, we got into a philosophy of different kind, and that philosophy was of right and wrong. What is dharma and what is adharma? What is right and what is wrong? Now, the right and wrong is something which was also developed in the later stages, and beyond metaphysics, beyond logic, beyond philosophy, this was said that there is a way of living. Now, right and wrong, as far as I'm concerned, and I've read a lot of books, is not something which is defined from the outside. There could be certain things which are universally correct, but right and wrong depends on how do you internally face in a situation, and do you feel guilty, do you feel fearful, do you feel wrong, do you feel right? And everybody does in a very tough moral situation, in a tough family situation. And were your actions justified at the nick of the time? In fact, in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna had a moral issue. He had a moral problem of killing people. And then the justification starts. So if you read Bhagavad Gita, then the principles in Bhagavad Gita of what is right and wrong, if you go deep into it, have been explained. Now, as far as the Indian philosophy is concerned, or the Hindu philosophy is concerned, it is that philosophy which was made by a lot of people who came into the subcontinent of India, which would include Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bangladesh, the subcontinent which was Gandhar, which is called India. And that is how people came and contributed, and the Indian philosophy or the Hindu philosophy came into picture. And there is, to tell you something, there is nothing as a Hindu philosophy. It was the Sindhu River, which the people from Afghan and other countries in the sand, desert countries who came to India, and they settled there, and the word S was pronounced H by them. So instead of Sindhu, they said Hindu. So that is how the word Hindu comes in. It was basically a civilization which developed around the Sindhu. There were people who came from outside, who were Greek, etc., who were basically Aryans, and then therefore it came as the Aryan philosophy. So philosophy was a way of life to lead, and that is what became very important. Now, before I get into certain things of Lord Krishna and Vrindavan, which I pay my homage to, and I treat it as a part of my life and have a lot of experience of Vrindavan as a place which has powers and manifests on you in ways if you go there, and it is there to bless you, and that is important as far as Vrindavan is concerned. So I was at a point where I was talking about Arjuna, and Arjuna is basically a moral fight, and then Bhagavad Gita goes into what is right and what is wrong, and you cannot draw that right and wrong from just reading only Bhagavad Gita. You have to read the entire, Mahabharata and the Bhagavatam at one go. So let me also explain this whole thing to you with a small story of Shvetaketu. Shvetaketu was a very naughty son of a sage known as Udalika. Now, he would not want to study, and he would not like to go to the Gurukul where his father was staying. And so he left his house, went to some other Gurukul, learned things there, came back very proud of himself, and was very proud and told his father that he's completed his knowledge and he knows what is knowledge and what things should be done, and he is now a very learned person. His father Udalika then asked him that, okay, what have you learned? So he said, this is what I've learned, how to deal with the world and what is the philosophy of life, etc., etc. So he said, but this is APAAR SHAKTI, means what you can see, feel, perceive, think, make a society, etc., etc. But do you know anything about the APAAR SHAKTI? APAAR SHAKTI, APAAR, APAAR SHAKTI. He says, no. And that, his father said, no, then you have not understood. You have to understand that there is a super consciousness, which is APAAR. which is beyond your knowledge, your understanding. Until the time you do not reach it, you will not be able to understand this APAAR Shakti also. So it is this quest of APAAR Shakti which leads us into religion. You may call it religion, you may call it philosophy. During a period of time, things like Brahman, Kshatri, etc., which developed, were basically not caste system. Let us be very clear. I've read a lot of details in it. It is not the caste system. It was the work which you were doing that was important. And in the Indian, in our Hindu system, we have two kinds of things. One is the Shruti part of it, and other is the Smriti part of it. The Shruti part, which was heard, they were the Vedas, which were actually felt by the souls who could connect themselves to the higher consciousness, to the higher Brahman, let me introduce this word, and told. And it was passed on to the word of mouth. And believe me, the Rig Vedas are one of them, and it tells about a lot of things. And after that is the Smriti. Smriti is certain books and texts which were written with the semblance of people who were existing and who were either magnified or who a lot of intelligence was put, a lot of poetism, a poetic philosophy was put so that a common man understands. And that was Smriti. So what happened at a certain stage is that for a common person to understand APAAR Shakti, APAAR Shakti, and for a person like me to understand also Smriti, Shruti, consciousness, superconsciousness, APAAR Shakti, APAAR Shakti, things like that were very difficult. So it was just do bhakti. Bhakti to anything. Bhakti to, so that you are elevating yourself. And that is what bhakti is all about. When you give, people say, why do you give flower to Devi Ji? Or why do you put water on a piece of, a hard piece of stone? Or why do you have Devi as a photograph? Why do you have Krishna as a photograph? Why do you have Ram as a photograph? What is the use of all this? So it is each photograph in our culture depicts a process which is there and which you have to understand, which is going to stay. We all know that every day we sleep. We all know that our body is changing. We all know that things are not going to be the same. We all know there is going to be a crisis in the world. We all know that destruction will happen. Now this destruction or this pralay, which has to take place, zarur hoga, that is signified by Shiva. Now it is signified, this particular whole process is signified by Shiva, so that you have an understanding that kal ko this thing will happen to you. Time will not remain the same. Things will not remain the same. The essence is destruction. On the other hand, you have Vishnu, who says you enjoy life. There are 7 प्रकृति के 7 रूप हैं. You have 7 रस हैं और उन सब रसों का आप भोग करिए. You have to enjoy everything in life. And whatever you got is through Brahma. The person who is your father, who makes you to move, who makes you to work, who makes you to understand this APAAR Shakti, not the APAAR Shakti, who makes you to understand metaphysics, who makes you to understand your this thing, who wants you to live longer, who's created you. So anything, you don't put it yourself, anything around you, anything which is related to you is your Brahma. You want to live it, that is Vishnu. You want to destroy it, it will get destroyed, that is Shiva. So by these photographs, it is the depiction of these stages which happens. And this is how, when these things get into your mind and they start increasing into your subconscious level, they have a very subtle impact which you would not know. And what I talked about, the Sahasra petals, the 10,000 petals. Now, what are these 10,000 petals? Now, let me come back to Vrindavan. In Vrindavan, it is said that Krishna had, it's been, people always keep on saying that Lord Krishna had Radha, then Satyabhama, so on and so forth, and 16,000, queens altogether. But it is not the 16,000 queens here. It is his play with the cosmic. And this play of the cosmic is that at a certain point of time, with the positive and the negative energies, colluding with each other, the negative energy and the positive energy, that is the Shakti and the Shiva, the Shakti being down and Shiva up, the female and the male energy, when they combine, they collide, then the Sahasra Chakra comes out. And each of these Sahasra Chakra has kalas. I mean, they have a play, and each has got 16 kalas. So 16 into 1000 was 16,000. So it was his play within himself, with Radha as a person sitting in front of him, a different kind of energy, a different kind of play, which even Lord Shiva wanted to witness. And Lord Shiva came to see that play and be a part of that play. It is not the play of 16,000 ladies. It is the play of your total energy, which gets sublimated and gets joined to the super consciousness. And that is what is the temple Gopeshwar in Vrindavan. Please do visit the temple Gopeshwar. The ling itself must be the place where, they would be sitting, or Shiva would have come. Something would have been there. Some energy is there. And the ling has power. It is, and you have to understand that when you go to see Gopeshwar, you have to go with this Shakti. So that is what Vrindavan is all about. Each place is a point of energy. Now, I, for myself, know at a point of time when I was at my lowest ebb, I was a very ardent bhakt of Baki Bihari. Now, Baki Bihari is a idol, a very old idol, and people feel that, it has got energy, which I also feel, and one can trace back this energy, at least if I can see it in history, was that Tansen, who could sing so well that he could create some vibrations and create the even the diyas, he used to, and that people have witnessed it. It is historically written. He could vibrate the energy in such a way that even lightning could happen by his songs. That is the energy of even song, because it vibrates something at a lower level. So it was when Akbar asked him that, you sing so well, who's your guru? So he said, I'll take you to my guru, who's in Vrindavan. But he's not interested in money, he's not interested in power, he's not interested in prestige. And more, he only sings when he wants to sing. It is his love to sing that he sings. Therefore, okay, they went, and from morning to evening, Akbar and Birbal were together, and they kept on, being after the guru of Tansen, whose name was Haridas. And it was only during the evening that Haridas sang before this idol of Krishna. From where did he get it? There is imagination. But he sang it before this idol of Baki Bihari, which is in Krishna. And he used to sing before him the songs in love of in love